Good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning into PSVG this week, the only gaming podcast that can successfully pull off a flying V. We are the flagship show of the Play Some Video Games Podcast Network and a proud member of the Make Us Better community. Speaking of which, we want to take a time out to personally thank each and every one of you out there who help support us and make us better in the process. Our Platinum Executive Producer, Mr. Corey Hicks, you can find him at twitch.tv /chicks_18, Mr. Mark Moody at youtube.com/outoflives. Our gold executive producers, Mike BC and Panache Malloy. Our executive producers, Stephen Iafredi, Joey Splats, Caro Underwood, Dante Bellini Jr., Jared Gautier, Dude427, myself, Josh Barboni, Tammy Ryan, Robert Miller, Tim Mulf, Martini Jean, David Ray, and Jesse Armstrong. Thank you to all of you, and you can help support all of us and learn more at patreon.com/makeusbetter. Thank you so much to everyone once again who contributes to the cause. Between PSVG, Sean Capri's Library of Podcasts, The Trophy Room, Nintendo Nostalgia, Warp Whistle, you are making great things happen, and there's much, much more to come. But those announcements, we need to save for another day. Anyway, it is I, your host, on PSVG, as always, Kevin Austin. With me tonight are two of my favorite meeple. See what I did there? I made a board game joke and I said meeples. And Kyle and Josh are here with me tonight. Gentlemen, how are you?
Oh, who goes first? I don't like this. I'm full of sugar, so I'm ready to go.
Wait, you're not tired?
Well, no, I'm full of sugar. I would be tired if I wasn't.
Okay. And Kyle, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing really good. It is, 5 after 8 in my home, and I am drinking coffee. So I'm sure tonight is going to be wonderful.
Yes, it is. That is always good. So Kyle, before we move on, we need to talk a little bit more about something you kind of just glanced over in the background on the most recent Board with VG. This Mighty Ducks 2 story.
Oh, okay.
I guess, first off, how did this come to be? And second of all, is there any way we can find you in the movie?
Okay, so on the most recent Board with Video Games, I talked about the fact that I was a paid extra in Mighty Ducks 2. For those of you who don't know, I grew up in Minnesota, land of all things hockey, hence and also, where the Mighty Ducks movies were made. And I had the opportunity I went to just a general casting day where they were having a whole bunch of extras that were just going to be sitting in the stands and cheering. So that is why I went, because I was like, oh, cool, I'll sit in the stands. This will be awesome. And I went with some friends of mine and their parents. Well, while we were waiting in line to get into the stadium, they came out and asked for volunteers. I was like, I'll volunteer. I have no idea what I'm volunteering for, but I will do it. So I volunteered. Then they found out I was under 18 because I was quite young at the time, obviously, that Mighty Ducks came out. So they said that I needed a parent or guardian signature in order to do this.
Sure.
Well, my parents weren't with me. So my friend's mom lied and signed for me, saying she was my guardian so that I could do this. So then what they did is they took me and all the rest of us who had signed up for this. They took us, to a trailer, and we got outfitted in some stylish clothes. And basically what I was a member of Emilio Estevez's debate team when he was in high school. So basically think of us taking a class, like a group picture that was going to go in the yearbook for his debate team. So there was one person who had been cast that was the young Emilio Estevez.
Right. And
then the rest of us were just the other people on the debate team. So they just took a whole bunch of pictures of us and all of these like stop motion things of us like pretending to debate. And then, so there was no like filmed part that was in the movie, but there's a part where his character, where Gordon Bombay, is reminiscing in front of a case of trophies. One of the things in that case is one of the pictures from that of him on his debate team. Okay. I don't think you can actually see me from what I recall, but that is what I got paid for to be in the movie. Is I am in one of those pictures in that display case. And I mean, the coolest part is I ate lunch with him and Joshua Jackson and all that cool stuff. That was the best part of the day, and I totally lied, I guess, which is pretty bad in order to do that. But yeah, so that was my Mighty Ducks 2 story and how I was in the movie.
That's awesome, because I was just thinking as you were talking about the debate team, I was like, I don't remember that scene, but then it ended up being a photo, so that actually works, and I'm going to find that picture, Kyle.
I was in this movie. Can you see it?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
And I was roller skating on old school roller skates.
Oh, so you weren't even rollerblading? That's pretty rough.
Roller skating, yeah. It was and Ming Na Wen's in it.
She was in Boy Band the movie?
Uh-huh.
Wow. Wow, that's awful. Anyway, okay, so let's move on and let's talk a little bit about what we've been up to, what we've been playing. Let's go with Josh first.
Oh boy, what have I been playing? Well, I played some Madden 19. Go figure. Figured I had to do coach right after, Madden Gate. So I had to go and give it a shot at least. And what else? What else? I dove into Kyle, what's that game we talked about that came out on Game Pass?
Dandara?
I played that.
Homefront the Revolution?
No. Ruiner. So I tried Ruiner. So I just did the intro. So far, it seems like a classic top-down shooter. But after you finish the intro mission, it like puts you into open world, which I didn't continue doing. So that's definitely a different take on the genre. I played that Dandara game, and it's 8-bit. It's like just like Celeste, so I immediately uninstalled it. It was,
oh man!
Like I got enough of Celeste from Celeste. Like I immediately got how hard that game was going to be just from the first minute and a half I played with that game. So just for my sanity, I uninstalled it. Onrush is free play this weekend for Xbox Live Gold members. So I downloaded Onrush. I talked about it on Board with VG when the demo came out, and I was very disappointed with the demo. Even the voice actress they had doing like the tutorial for the game was horrendous, to put it nicely. It looks like they changed it from where the beta was into the full game. She actually does a good job in the game now. I actually enjoyed my time with it. It's like I was talking to Seth about it in Discord earlier. It's like taking Hydro Thunder racing style, because I couldn't think. It's not like Cruising USA. They didn't have a. I'm trying to think of racing games they had for cars that was similar to Hydro Thunder series.
Yeah, it's not really.
I couldn't think of a specific one.
Yeah, it's not a good one.
So it's similar to that. It's all about boost and it's about takedowns. So it has a little bit of burnout in it. But where it changes that formula is it's like Overwatch. It's team-based. There's crates. There's like a gear crates you unlock as you play. It drops just like Overwatch crates. You get 3 items. You get rares and commons. And they pop in the same way. Instead of like spray paint, you get 8-bit gravestones that spin when you die. And when you die, you don't just keep, you don't like respawn right away. It drops you into a menu where you can change your car class.
Oh, like your loadout, essentially.
Yeah. And then you have to wait a couple seconds before you're dropped back into the race. It keeps you at the pack, but it's team-based. So you're playing with like, depending on the matchup, you're either like blue team or orange team. And certain races are all about takedowns. Certain races are about different things. And there's also a little bit of that like Titanfall mechanic in where there's bot cars and vehicles like motorcycles, and you get boost for taking them out. And as you're going through these races, like each car or motorcycle has 3 special abilities as you're racing through. And there's like an ultimate ability too, which is your onrush power, which is usually like a Mario Fireball, like super big burst of speed.
Right.
But honestly, from a game I really didn't think I'd have any interest, the free play weekend, I think did its job, and I will get this game at some point. It's on sale like 40% off right now, I think. So the question is, do I get it now or do I wait for like Black Friday or something when it could potentially be on sale? But if you have an Xbox, it's free to try from today into Sunday. So I would say give it a shot. You can customize your driver. You have a bunch of different drivers to choose from. You can customize a bunch of stuff. You can customize your vehicles. Surprisingly fun and deeper than I thought based on the experience I had in the beta. So it gets a thumbs up from me. Surprisingly, didn't expect to like it.
That sounds pretty cool. It definitely sounds like something better than what they had done earlier, like you said with the beta there too. But you compare it to Overwatch, but does it in fact have a hamster and a wrecking ball?
I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. It's very possible.
Okay, you need to report back because that is extremely important to all of us here. Was that it, Josh?
Yeah, we can talk about whatever when you talk.
Okay, cool. Kyle, sir, then the floor is yours.
Yeah, so there's a couple things that I've been playing. One of them I talked about very briefly on Board with Video Games, so I'll expound upon that a little more. The first one being Overcooked 2. So, big fan of the original Overcooked. Sunk a ton of hours into that. Still, like I said, on that, one of my, if not my wife's very favorite video game. So, have been jumping into and playing some Overcooked 2 with her. We just finished the second world, I think, or are like one stage away from finishing the second world.
Okay, yep.
Still have 3 stars on everything. So making the world go around there. And it's great. It really is, it's kind of like taking everything you love from Overcooked and making it just a little bit better. Yeah. So big fan of that. The one drawback that I have with it, or the one thing that I'm not thrilled about, I love the fact that the throwing mechanic is in there now. I really like it. I think it does some cool things. I feel really awesome when I throw rice into a pot from a far away.
Oh, yeah, it goes right in. Yep.
Right. The thing I don't like about it, and not what I anticipated, was that I figured that when you're on a raft that is moving, like I might accidentally throw it into the water. Yep. The thing that you can do, though, that's kind of annoying is sometimes you can throw it and it will land on the raft in a place you can't get it.
Get to it. Yep.
And that to me is a little annoying. Like if it would just fall off, I think I'd feel way less bad about it. But the fact that I can see it there taunting me, and I'm like, just can't get to that. I like I said, that just annoys me. It's not a huge problem because, like I said, they could easily just have it fall into the water, but I feel better about it then. So overall, really recommend Overcooked 2. The funny thing is, the reason my wife likes this game is by nature, I'm a very indecisive person. If you ask me, what do I want to eat? Whatever. Where do you want to go to do this thing? What movie do you want to watch? Never have a really great answer for it. But when we were playing Overcooked, I'm really good at saying, what I need you to do is... I'm very, very good at that. And it's not mean. It's not directive. I mean, it's kind of directive, but it's not being a jerk about it. I'm just being actually finally a little assertive, which I'm not very often.
Say it to us how you say it while you're playing the game, and we'll be the judge of that.
That's what I just said. What I need you to do is this. Whatever this is. Okay. What I need you to do is this. And then we just move on.
I think we're fighting. If you talk to me like that, young man, we're fighting.
Yeah, it's not aggressive, but it has a hint of
condensation. There you go.
Condensation.
What the heck am I thinking of the word of it? Oh my god, what am I thinking of?
I'm going to let you sit in this because we all know what it is.
Do you? Because I cannot think of the word.
Condescension.
Yes, condescending. Condescending. That's what I mean.
Yes.
So I'm playing it too. Obviously, my wife was a huge fan of the first one. Much like you, Kyle, we 3-starred everything in the last one. And so far, we've played it with me, my wife, and my middle daughter. My oldest daughter has no desire to revisit Overcooked, apparently. She was traumatized by the first one, I guess. She was like, nope, I'm not playing this. I don't know if it's because I started off right away playing with 3 people versus just me and my wife. I noticed, and you talked on Board with VG that dropped today as we're recording this, you'd only done the first couple stages at that point, and they were super, super easy. For me, the difficulty ramped up like crazy very shortly after. Like World 2 was like the final stages of the last Overcooked for me, between the different things with like the blimp, the hot air balloon level, and like I'm like, what is this? I'm like, this is already more advanced, which it's fine. And we haven't gone back and said, okay, just me and my wife are gonna tackle and see if we can get it to work better than trying to do it with 3 people that are kind of in each other's way. But yeah, it seems like everything about it's better than the first one. The throwing mechanic is interesting, but can create some issues. But that was definitely deliberate by the developer there. I guarantee it. But yeah, it just seems like it's a lot harder than the first one, which for me makes me kind of feel concerned for those folks who didn't play Overcooked 1. Like a lot of people were jumping on the Switch bandwagon right now that are just playing Overcooked 2, never played the first one. and like they're jumping in a much more difficult, in my mind, iteration than getting to ease into it with Overcooked 1. But
yeah, we hit our first level today that we 2-starred the first time that we did it.
yeah,
and there definitely was multiple moments while we were playing of what are we supposed to do right now, like
yes.
where you had to stop and just like be like, where is everything, and just try to figure out and take in like, okay, this is here and this is there and this is all going like. That definitely happened for the first time in World 2 for us.
Yeah.
And like I said, we did have to replay one of them. And like I said, I think we have 1 or 2 stages left to finish it out. So we haven't quite done everything yet. But yeah, I think it definitely, World 2, other than the very first stage of level 2, which I thought was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
After that, things definitely ramped up quite quickly after that. But that's okay. I enjoy that. It adds longevity to the game.
Yeah, the hidden stages too. You've done any of those yet? The dog one stages?
Yeah, did the Kevin 1 in the first world. So we did the Kevin's first stage in World 1, but that's all that we've done so far.
Those are super hard.
Those are super hard. Yeah.
Oh, I was like, man, and we couldn't find the second one. So World 1, we got, Kevin 1, which they kind of give you. They just say like the second one, we didn't find one. No, so the next one we found was Kevin 3, and I'm like, this is gonna annoy me that I can't find Kevin 2. And the game's so new, it's not like there's a walkthrough yet to say like, oh, here's how you get the hidden stage. Like,
right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be another thing to look forward to. But yeah, Kevin 3 was super hard too.
So yeah, so that's what I've been playing. Other than, so Josh is gonna be probably a little mad at me. After the podcast, after we recorded Board with Video Games, we talked about Dead Cells, and Josh is like, "Okay, I'll get Dead Cells on Xbox on Friday." And I said, "Okay, that sounds great." But then I was home alone yesterday because I wasn't feeling well, and I had my Switch sitting there.
Have some self-control, man.
I don't have self-control at all. So I bought Dead Cells on Switch yesterday, but I will still play it on Xbox if you get it on Xbox because this game is amazing.
Oh, good.
Dead Cells is so good. It is worth the hype. I enjoyed Rogue Legacy, and I kind of enjoy the general roguelite series. It's not something that I'm always going to get every one, but if it's a good one, I enjoy playing them. And I was up until far too late last night playing Dead Cells because it really scratches that one more run itch. And how they really, like when I was playing it, I had kind of gotten stuck that I couldn't get through the first world and into the second set of worlds, but I could never get through that second set of worlds for like 3 runs in a row. And I was like, well, I know 3 runs is pretty quick to be like, oh, why can't I get through this? But I was getting to that point where I just really couldn't feel like I could. And then suddenly I did. And I was like, oh, this is great. So I made it to the next thing. And then I struggled in that one for 3 or 4 runs. And I was like, maybe I'm not going to make it. And then I did. So it constantly makes you feel like, hey, you're making a little bit of progress. And then I got to a point where, so you're collecting these cells that you have to go turn in. And by turning in the cells, it allows you to unlock different abilities to start the game with. So basically, like when you start the game, you have a sword and then you can pick a bow and arrow or a shield, either one. But as you pick up blueprints that you turn in and you pick up cells, it allows you to say like, hey, I'm going to get a random bow and arrow out of all the bow and arrows I have unlocked rather than just the basic one, or I'm going to get a random shield. So you're constantly going to be kind of improving as you start to make things go through easier. I was like, I don't know how long this game is expected to be. I don't know how big this is expected to be, or how many hours I'm going to sink into this. The most cells I've ever turned in at one time, I think, was something like 30 or 40. I got to a point where they're like, hey, if you want, and things have abilities. I got to a point where they're like, hey, if you want to improve the abilities that are on your things, you can invest in this one character. Like, okay, sweet. How many is it to improve it? 1,000 cells. And I'm like, 1,000?
What?
1,000? And the nice thing is you can deposit them and they slowly just add up over time. But I'm like, with everything else I have to unlock, 1,000 cells? 1,000? So clearly this is a game that's going to take some time, and obviously finishing it is not going to be the end of it. They do a really cool thing to encourage the loop of every time you unlock something, when you die and come back, there's this room that has all these jars hanging from the ceiling, and they're all the things you can unlock. And it's this huge space with all of these empty jars hanging there. And you look and you're like, wow, I have like 5 of those jars filled. There's like 110 to go. Sweet. Like, it really constantly instills that drive to go back in, do one more run, get a few more cells, and just try to do that. But it's a really great game. I'm really enjoying my time with it. I will definitely play it on 360 or PS4 or Switch. Like, I really enjoyed my time with it. yeah, I'm gonna continue to sink hours into it. But if I feel like about that game in a week, like I do today, this is easily gonna be on my top 5 games of the year.
That's cool. That's cool. And I totally get your dilemma too. You guys talked about it in the last show too, about, okay, where do you buy games? Because you have this whole game share thing going on. Donnie, I have the game share thing going on. But every once in a while, you got something you're like, this just feels right on Switch. Like, this is what should be on Switch. And I mean, I got Overcooked on PS4, and they're all complaining that I didn't get on the Switch with them. And in my head, I'm like, I don't want to play on Joy-Cons this game only because I know how Overcooked is. I'd rather have a big controller in my hand, and my whole family playing it together. We're not going to sit there each with a Joy-Con, all 4 of us playing like that. No, that's terrible. So
I have a hard enough time when I have like pot, food, pan. Like, I have a hard enough time picking up the one I want as is to try to do that with the Joy-Con.
Yeah, forget it. So no, good call there. Good call. All right, so I'll go next. Overcooked 2, as we talked about, so I've already been playing that. I have 2 work-related stories to kind of touch on. So one thing I did today, which I thought was kind of cool, nothing gaming related here at all, but I did spend the day. Luckily, the company I work for, Citizens Bank, they're really, really big on community involvement, and they don't just do it as like a, hey, this is a one-time deal, or, we do it 1 year an event. Like, they really push for us to do it. And it's like, hey, if you go and do a volunteer event, you're paid to do the volunteer event. Like, that's your work day. And they really enforce it. They constantly come up with ideas and things to do. So today we went to Camp Wanna Go again, it's called. And it is a summer camp that they do for just a couple of weeks in the middle of the summer for autistic kids. And you get to spend the day kind of doing things with them. And it's really cool. And it was something near and dear to my heart because my younger sister is actually autistic, and when she was growing up, there wasn't things like this available because autism wasn't at the time something that was really recognized by most places as being a disability or even anything to be concerned with. Like, she was in regular classes for half of her school career when she really shouldn't have been, kind of deal. But it was a lot of fun. We got to meet some kids, got some water balloons tossed at me, put some smiles on some faces there. So it was a feel good moment for me today, and it just kind of, I posted on Facebook, it really brings to light, everybody has their own issues, but to see people who face bigger challenges and struggles in life than you do, and they still able to put a smile on their face, really puts things in perspective that, like, your problems probably aren't that big of a deal compared to what they're able to do and still smile and have a great time with. So that was feel good moment of the day for me today, despite having to be outside, which I hate doing. The second thing is so I recently went through some like restructuring at work, and I ended up on a new team with a different manager and a different group of people. And it's been like a couple months now, but the manager wanted to get together and do like a team outing, like a team building type thing. And when you work in an office environment, it can be a little tough because you have different types of personalities, different types of hobbies. In my case, you have multiple generations of people from different decades all in the same group. Like, there was, some 30s, some 40s, some 50s, some 60s, maybe even 70s. I'm not quite sure because it's not polite to ask, and they're like, hey, what do you guys want to do? And it's like, there's nothing in common of all the people, but eventually they settled on Dave and Buster's, the adult Chuck E. Cheese, where people could eat, drink, just talk if they want to, and they could play games if they want to. Shocker here, I'm not a big people person in person for the most part, so I just like going to work. I throw my headphones on, I listen to podcasts all day, some music, something like that, and I do my job. I do great at my job, and when I have presentations or team meetings or conference calls, I'm always engaging. Like, I don't ignore people. I'm not like that at all. I do very well, but just the outside of work interactions, no thanks. I got plenty of friends, online friends like you guys to talk to. I don't need anybody extra, so I'm good. But I couldn't, get out of it, be the only person not there, so I went. And, first off, we talked on Flux Suppose I'm on that keto diet, which basically rules me out of eating anything that's at a Dave & Buster's because everything is fried or in bread or, something. So I didn't eat anything. And they're all like, oh, we feel so bad taking you. I'm like, not a big deal. It's my choice. I'm fine. Did have an adult beverage, so that's good. But then they all thought it would be fun to drag me out to play games because the mentality is, well, Kevin plays games. Let's all try and beat Kevin. And I was like, you guys don't know. I don't really want it. Like, come on. They drag me out. Okay. So first thing we walked by, and this was kind of a little blasphemous, but a little cool at the same time. So we all know the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson movie right now, Rampage, where it's like loosely based on the Rampage video game. Mm-hmm. Well, they made a Rampage video game with these new characters in it. So, but it's a totally updated version of Rampage. Still the same premise. You're the big monsters. You climb the buildings, you punch them, they fall down, you move on. But this one is like a survival one where like you can have up to 3 players, the same 3 creatures, and like you just keep going, rack up as many points, and when you die, the game's over. Like there's no extra lives, there's no, you just go until you run out of lives. So they were like, "Come on, Kevin, play. You must remember the original game." I'm like, yeah, I love the original game. So the guy who lasted the longest had just under 2 million points. I died about 30 seconds before him, but with 4.8 million points. So yeah, so that's what started. And they're like, all right, well, let's go play air hockey. Okay, sure. Kevin, I want to play. Okay. That match was 6-2. Okay, next person. I want to challenge Kevin. That match was 7-1. Okay, let's move on to the next game. And they're getting pissed at me. And it's like, I'm competitive, so I'm not just going to let you win. And you begged me to do this, so don't get on my case. So next is Mario Kart. We sit down at Mario Kart. And I'm racing, and I'm doing some of the drifts, which is a little bit more difficult to do in the arcade version of Mario Kart versus in the game. But I'm kind of just playing casual. And it gets down to the final lap, and we're like, you see the home stretch. And I was like in 3rd place, right on the tail of 2nd place thing. Pick up an item, mash that item button, boom, it really explodes. I go right through 1st place. Hissed again. And then last thing, they're like, well, let's do the basketball, the little trick shot game thing there. I'm not good at basketball. And so I'm like, finally, this is one somebody else is going to win. Nope. 42 points. I've never gotten 42 points in that stupid basketball thing in my life. So yeah, it just was awkward. It was fun at the same time because part of me was like, that'll teach you to mess with me. Just leave me alone next time. But yeah. So lesson learned. Don't taunt Kevin.
You're
but as
that
far
guy
as
in Grandma's Boy.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. But on the video game front, so let's get down to that. We teased last week, and the official review is out. I got to review Flipping Death, which is available on all the consoles from Zoink Games, creators of Stick It to the Man. That review's up there. You can kind of check it out. We didn't really score it. We kind of gave it a recommend or don't recommend, which I totally recommend this game. The voice acting is great. The writing is hilarious. It's a very fun game, and the art style is phenomenal. So I won't talk too much about that, but I will say head over to the website, psvg.blog, or look up the video on YouTube for the review done quick. It's only like 5 or 6 minutes, I think, and you'll get some footage and get to see that there. But it's something you should definitely check out. And in the same regards, I'm doing another review, so I can't talk about it yet because it is under embargo, but it is, I can't say what it is, and that is State of Mind, which is coming to Xbox and Switch. I don't know if it's coming to PlayStation. I know it's coming to Steam, Xbox, Switch. Not sure, but it's a I guess I've only played like an hour of it, but I can say it is similar, I guess, in a sense to Detroit, where it's humans in the future and there's some cyborg interactions, and there seems to be some resentment right off the bat. So it might just be bad timing for this game to come out that close to it, but already getting some vibes there. But look forward to that review hitting next week. We'll talk more about that. And then just a couple last things here. Fire Emblem Warriors, I'm playing. Got that from the library. It's fun. I like it. It is different than Hyrule Warrior Legends, the Legend of Zelda one, but I don't think it's better. It's just different because it does try and keep some Fire Emblem aspects into it with the weapons triangle, and you can equip different weapons and different people. It's just not the same. Like Zelda, as far as the upgrading and everything was, it was a lot simpler. Like you knew, hey, Link has these kinds of swords. Whenever you pick up this kind of sword, it goes to Link. In this game, it's like, well, you have swords, axes, and spears, and depending on your character, they can equip any sword or any axe. So it's a little bit harder to kind of map out your upgrades and do that kind of stuff there too. Voice acting is great. The art style is a little bit different. It follows Fire Emblem, kind of the anime style versus what Legend of Zelda does there too. But overall, not bad at all. It's enjoyable. Playing Octopath Traveler, as is pretty much everybody else. Kyle, I encourage you. Did you get it?
I do have it. I haven't started it yet, though.
Okay. I do think you're going to dig it, much like I predicted Captain Toad you were going to have fun with. I think you're going to like this, too. It is very reminiscent, harkening back of the 16-bit RPG era there, too, with the big twist. It does seem like it's going to be a long... I don't want to say grind because everyone gets super offended when you say this game is grindy. It's going to be a long haul in this game for sure. It is... And this isn't knocking it. It is very slow paced. The battles aren't like boom, 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 boom right after. And every battle, and in old RPGs, you got to a point where you can have a battle in like 30 seconds and be done with it. This doesn't happen in any match in Octopath Traveler. Like every battle is at least 2 minutes, even if it's a nothing battle. It runs a lot slower, and everybody has way too many hit points. So I'm enjoying it. The story is engaging. The dynamic of 8 characters. I think I've unlocked 4, and I'm on my way to the 5th one now. That part is interesting, but there's clearly some characters that are way more overpowered than others. So I think if you pick like the wrong person to start with, you're going to hate this game from the start. And also maybe if you pick somebody that's too powerful. I started with the Thief, Therion. He seems pretty well balanced where he's not overpowered and he's not super weak. So I think that was like a good starting point for me. But I know some people start with Hannet, the girl who has like the snow leopard. She seems way too overpowered, but it's very good. But everyone's saying that anyway. And last time I talk about is Villianous. So
it's a board game, people.
It's a board game. So we got to talk about it here with you guys, of course. Kyle, were you able to track down Villianous? Since you're most yes.
Got it. I picked it up actually on my way home from work today.
Wow.
Nice. Awesome.
How about that box, Kyle?
I know this actually is interesting because, like you had talked about, the box obviously has a different finish, and I expected it to be wrapped in plastic, which it isn't, which is weird. And so I'm like, what do I do with these little stickers? Do I try to peel them off? Are they going to wreck something? Like, what do I do?
Just cut them.
Yeah, I just cut them.
That's what I'm going
to cut mine too.
Yeah, but anyway, so I haven't even opened it yet, but I do have it now.
Awesome. So I can't wait to hear you. Hopefully you get to play it and talk about it on the next episode there too. So I've played it a few times now, and I know you guys, when you guys talked about it before, we're not going to get into what Villianous is. Go back and listen to not this newest episode of Board with VG, but the one before it, and Josh kind of goes into depth and how it works. So we're not going to go through explaining it again. First time I played through, played with my entire family. So me, my wife, and my 2 eldest daughters played it because they were all Disney fans. So it was a good fit. I brought it home. They were excited. They didn't know really anything about the game at all. And I just said, nope, you're going to like this. We're going to play it. Sat down and played it. Now the game states it's a 2 to 6 player game, I believe. And it says like the game time is about 50 minutes, I think is what it says in the box. Our first match was over 2 hours and 15 minutes.
That's typical for a first time playing board games.
Yeah. Part of it is them learning, especially my daughter's not familiar with a game that has these many different dynamics going, because every villain plays different. So it's not necessarily like I was able to help them right off the bat because I was learning it too at the same time, and I didn't know how Queen of Hearts works versus, I was Jafar. But it was a lot of fun. My middle daughter did not like it and said she's not going to play it again, but my oldest daughter really liked it, probably because she won. My wife seemed to dig it too, so it is a lot of fun, so I like it. Then took it to work to play with my work friend, who we play board games a couple times a week during our lunch hour, because I mentioned it to him and I've been talking about it, and he's like, I want to check that out, bring it in, let's play it. We did. And that match I played as Captain Hook, and he played as Prince John in those. And so those are like the only 2 characters I hadn't unwrapped yet, so we got to play it. And we got our match done in about 45 minutes. So 2 people that are more experienced in these types of games can knock it out a little bit quick. Plus, there's a lot of in this game that may not work well with the larger groups or people that aren't super experienced in these types of games. Pre-planning your next move. Like some people just have that habit of, oh, it's my turn. Let me see what I'm going to do. And that can severely drag out any game. So you got to kind of be ready, like, okay, yeah, something may happen. Like, somebody may play a fate card on you that throws off your game plan for what you were going to do. But other than that, you should be kind of ready to go at the beginning of your turn, especially in this game. But I do really, really like it. Looking forward to more play times with it. I do like the fact that every villain plays different. So this is a game that you can really drag out for quite some time, because it's going to take you a while, I think, to master a certain villain, and then you can move on to the next one and it plays totally different. I do think, and Josh, did you get to play it again, or have you only played it once so far?
Just one so far.
Okay. Once you guys get some more plays in, maybe you can talk about it on the show. I feel like the villains are split into 2 separate categories.
Passive and attack.
Yeah, and it seems like the passive ones have a much easier time winning.
Yeah.
Versus
our experience.
Yeah, so like Captain Hook, Jafar, and Ursula seem to be much more difficult to get through than Queen of Hearts, Prince John, and Maleficent. And part of it's due to the locked areas of their playing boards. Like Jafar, and I know you played as Jafar, like I didn't get the Scarab until the game was almost over. And like until you get that, there's literally nothing you can do as Jafar to really set yourself up for a victory. Like you have to get the Scarab to get the lamp, and then you can start trying to make your progression to win.
Yeah, I got lucky, but what I didn't realize, like the reason why the first place takes so long, just getting those rules down, I wasn't even realizing you can discard as many cards as you want.
Oh, you can? See, I thought it was only one card.
So when you do the discard action, you can discard as many cards as you want, which is why there's only one Scarab Pendant in your deck. I got lucky; it was on the top of my deck.
Oh,
And Ashley played Maleficent, and her end goal seemed like it would be way easier for her to do. She still had a difficult time because I kept using, fate cards against her, which is built to help you stay competitive. But at the end of the game, I said, wow, I didn't even realize we could have been discarding as many cards as we want.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know that. That's gonna change it then too.
And that's huge. And like Jafar has one where you can like draw 2 cards if you ever the right ally out. So there's also benefits to that. But I wanted to ask you what did you see as the biggest difference between playing with one other person and playing with 3 other people?
It's easier to keep track of what's going on everybody else's board, obviously, because you need to kind of like your objective in this game. For those of you that haven't played it, you're not necessarily against the other players. It's you're against your board. You're just trying to complete your objective. So if you don't look around, you may not realize, like for instance, Maleficent, maybe one turn away from sealing the deal because all she has to do is put some curses on her different parts of the land. Once she does that, beginning of her turn, game over. So if you're not paying attention to everything your opponents are doing, that could spell disaster unless you're way far ahead in the lead. So for me, that was part of it. And then just kind of, I want to get more plays in with my family in the bigger groups to see if it's really just a matter of they needed to learn the game or it was really going to take that long each time for people pre-planning their moves so it wasn't a 2-hour thing. Because I would have loved to have played it like 2 times that afternoon, but I was like, after 2 hours and 15 minutes, I'm like, I'm not playing this again because that's way too long. But I definitely like it. I'm super, and I know this is like I played it twice and I'm already like, give me expansion packs. I want more villains. Like I'm already at that moment that I want those extra villains, which you guys addressed my question there last week on your show. But yeah, I really, really like it. And I think honestly for what, $35 is the retail value on this one?
Yeah, super
that's super worth it. Yeah, that's a great price. It's good quality. Yeah, the Cauldron's kind of the only thing that's kind of meh, as far as quality. Everything else is fine, and it's a steal. I mean, the only other game I got for that cheap that was good, and the reason I got that cheap was because it was on clearance, was Potion Explosion. Like any other game, you spend way more than that, and you don't get necessarily that kind of quality. So I'm super happy with that purchase, and I'm glad, clearly Disney had some sort of hand in it, obviously, because the artwork is great and used licensing the character. So hopefully that contributed to it. They took care with it. But overall, love it, love it, love it. So I can't wait to hear Kyle's thoughts once you get your mitts in there.
Looking to play it this weekend. So
good. I did like playing Captain Hook better than Jafar. His structure kind of allows you to accelerate your plays a little quicker than Jafar was there with the discard motions. But I think that's enough from us. It's time to check in with you all and answer your questions. It's time to check out the messages. So our first one comes in from Sydney, and this is also board game specific because she knew you were coming. Target with the exclusive game announcement. So you guys also post this in the Discord here. Target is releasing 95 exclusive games for release. Let me get the article up here. I want to touch on it there too. So some are more casual games here. You have like Monopoly Gamer. They're doing a Mario Kart edition. Looks like it's coming out. Some are already out. We know Ticket to Ride New York, House of Danger. That's the one you got too. The Choose Your Own Adventure, right, Josh? Is that the one you got? Okay, so Oregon Trail game, Megaland, which I'm looking forward to. I've heard it's actually popping up in some stores, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, when I picked up Villianous, it was there, and I almost bought it, but I didn't.
How much is that one going for?
I think it's also 25 or 35. Yeah, it's pretty expensive.
That's awesome. And then they're doing some more of the classic games, Sorry and Battleship, with their different editions and stuff like that. But it looks like they got a lot of different licensings, like Golden Girls game coming, a Brady Bunch game, a MacGyver escape room game. So it's all like these funny niche games. But her question really was about this announcement. Is this a good thing for board games, or is it bad? Meaning, trouble for your local game shops, or exclusives are sometimes super hard to get your hands on because you can only get it at Target. And if all these board game enthusiasts are coming for it and they can't find it, does it make for some problematic things there too? So for me, I think overall it's good. It is hard, especially now, Toys R Us is gone. So that's one less major player in it, although they didn't really have too many designer games. They did have some. I think it's good, though. It makes it more accessible. Other than that, the only one that has like a good variety right now, it's not a local game shop, which there's not one near me that I could shop in. Otherwise, I probably would try and support local businesses, is like Barnes & Noble. And I've talked about it before, Barnes & Noble, they do have a good selection now, but the merchandising is just kind of like, here's these 3 shelves. I'm going to throw everything on these shelves, and wherever it sits, that's where it is. Like, you may find games behind other games. There's no clear rhyme or reason as to what they're actually selling. It's like they just got a box of random stuff and just throw it on the shelf. Target's a little more organized, especially some in New England are going through remodels, and their board game section is expanding even more than it was. And they're taking time with these super excellent playing games. Like, here's strategic board games, here's party games, here's kids games. Like, they're doing a really good job with this. So I think out of any retailer, I'm glad Target's the one doing it, not somewhere like Walmart, because I personally hate shopping at Walmart anyway. But I think Target's really kind of knocking it out of the park right now, and they're getting some good quality games. And if they're able to stay with these great pricing, like you said, 25 to 35 for Megaland, that's great. And I'm looking forward to that. That'll be my next pickup. So for me, I say it's a good thing. Josh, your thoughts?
So I think you kind of hit what my biggest concern would be with the Barnes & Noble thing. Every one of my targets, I have 4 targets within easy driving distance, and double that within relative driving distance. Their merchandising is horrible here. It's product all over the place, things not where they're supposed to be. And my other biggest issue is with us, like with Kyle and I talk about board games all the time. We always know what's coming out, and Target is never stocking their games in time either. And the one time they do, it's before release date, and they can't sell it. So they need to fix, like, the news is awesome. It's great news. It will be tough for friendly local game stores, but with the expansion of tabletop gaming right now, it's more important to get more people in than it is to support local game stores exclusively, if that makes sense. Target reaches a mass market, a huge audience, which will then drive those people to friendly local game shops, because once you play Megaland, if you want to play Above and Below, which is by the same designer and it comes with a Above and Below promo pack inside, you're going to have to go to a Barnes & Noble or a local game shop or an Amazon. But if it's getting you into the hobby, which is, I think, what we'll see mostly from Target exclusive games, is these gateway games, because they don't sell $80 Game of Thrones that sit on their shelves.
Right.
The Catan, they have to drop it to $29 in half of their markets just to move it out of their stores. You're also going to see a quicker turnaround with Target games, like the Jurassic Park Danger game. It already went on clearance and is out of all my Targets now. So they do it by market, which is smart of them.
Sure.
They have 95 exclusive games coming out. They're not going to let these sit on shelves and go, for long. They'll clearance them out and bring in new ones. At least that should be their plan. I think it's great. The only worry I have is that I can't afford all these games that I probably want. And don't be too surprised, like that Golden Girls game that came out looks totally silly or whatever, or the Brady Bunch game that's coming out. They are actually being designed by good board game designers, and you would never think like how well the Bob Ross game did. They have a new one. They just had a second one come out that's a Target. And it's not like an expansion. It's a whole different game, but in the Bob Ross thing. So we're going to see weird things like that popping up and in, but for the hobby, it's perfect. Like, what an awesome time to be playing board games.
Yeah, I think these licenses that they get for these things like Golden Girls, Brady Bunch, they're probably super cheap, and it's probably a quick turnaround for some of these good game designers to be like, yeah, I can throw something together around this real quick and put it out there. And you're right, it'd be a great, niche gaming type thing. Before we go to Kyle real quick, I did look up Megalands. It is only $24.99 at Target, so that's awesome. So that'll be next on my list there for sure. So Kyle, your thoughts, good or bad for the world of board gaming this move?
I think overall good. And I mean, I don't have too much to add based on what you have already said. Like, I think it's mostly going to be, those entry level games. And I think it's going to definitely give an opportunity to expose more hobby style games to people who maybe might not be used to them. When I went to Target today, there's 2 Targets that are close to me. One of them did not have Villianous in and the other one did. So I went to that one, which is the one I usually don't go to because it's further away. But their board game selection was huge. Like how much aisle space it took up. It was extremely well organized. Like I said, they had Villianous, they had Megaland, they had the Oregon Trail game, they had Ticket to Ride, they had the D&D starter kit, they had House of Danger, they had all of these games already out. Plus, they still have the Jurassic Park Danger game. It's still full price there, so it clearly must be selling okay.
I didn't see it in Rhode Island on discount at all, but I can't find it now at all either. So like it went from when Josh saying it was on clearance, and I went to go to find it on clearance, couldn't find it on clearance anywhere, but I could find the game. To now, I can go check any Target in Rhode Island, and I can't find even the game. Right. So it just disappeared at least here, but yeah.
Yeah. So it clearly must be at least selling decently. Otherwise they would have moved it. But I think this overall is going to be good. I think the big reason that I'm okay with it is that there's likely not someone who wanted to get Megaland that now can't. Like if this was suddenly a situation where it became really boutique or really niche, then I might not be totally cool with it. But most people have a Target, and if you don't, you can still order Target online, and you can still get it that way. So I think because of the price point, because of the ease of accessibility, I don't think this is going to be a bad thing. And I still think that if you are a snobby hobby board gamer like I am, I can still go to my FLGS and they're going to have 98% of what I want there. And when I go do my occasional Target run to pick up new Tupperware, now I have something cool to go look at while I'm looking at my Tupperware as well.
See, and I'm the opposite. I'm at Target all the time, and I don't have a local game store, but a lot of these games are more what I would be playing with my family and my kids too.
We're at Target twice a week here, so I don't know what's going on out there.
So and Chowfie also wants to add, he's in the chat there, that they have the LOL doll game, so they have that as an exclusive at Target. So for anybody interested in that, but Chowfie also sends in a question though too. What is your first memory of using voice chat on a video game? Do you remember what it felt like? For me, I do remember, and it was PS3, I believe, and it was Resistance 2 and MotorStorm. I think it was a sequel to MotorStorm, if I recall. I got them both around the same time. That's kind of like the first time I was using voice chat on the PS3. And it was like, this is so cool. I'm not only playing with my friends now, but I can also talk to them as we're racing and kind of talk smack and stuff like that too. So I do remember it was very, very cool at the time. And now I try not to talk to anybody except when I'm podcasting. So, it's just me. But no, it's... yeah, voice chat's an interesting thing. If you have the right group of people, it's totally fun. Our drunken Mario Kart stream last weekend was quite the blast, all on voice chat there too. But then there's a lot of times I'll play a game even where it's multiplayer where I'm really not communicating with the other people. Chowfie says he finally let his son chat with his friends on Fortnite tonight, and you can see him hyped up and it's like his mind blown because it just changes the whole dynamic of playing with your friends when they're not really there. Not couch co-op. You're being able to still talk and play with your friends. So Kyle, you can go first this time.
So I don't know if this is the first time I ever used voice chat, but the first time I remember using voice chat was with that very high quality action role-playing game on the Xbox 360 for me. It was also on PlayStation 2 and PC, Phantasy Star Universe.
Oh, yes.
So that was a game that I sunk hundreds of hours into. And like I said, I remember that game fondly. If I went back and played it, probably wasn't very good. But I remember it very fondly, and that was really the first game my friends, who eventually became my Call of Duty group, oddly enough, that is where we started, was in PSU. So that's how we started. That's kind of how we met. And then we transitioned to Call of Duty. So there we go. So Phantasy Star Universe. And it was mind-blowing. The only thing I remember was being fascinated by the fact that it worked, but still being annoyed that it sounded better than it should have, but it still didn't sound as good as I wanted it to. Like I can hear these people, but back then, like, these are the first headsets, so they don't sound super great. Like there's a little bit of static a lot. Like it didn't sound quite as well as I wanted it to, but
sure.
it didn't take many years, like literally like a year or two, and a new headset and all this other stuff, and things were golden. So yeah, Phantasy Star Universe is the first time I remember chatting with people.
Very cool. I remember that game. Josh, your first memory.
It's kind of funny because I'm like racking my brain about like, it's one of those experiences that it should be super memorable, like, because it was a big deal at the time, but I don't have. I know we did like VPN for Command and Conquer Red Alert 2 when we were playing PC back in the day, where like my brother would be 3 rooms over on a headset, and I'd be on the computer in the other room, and we'd be playing against each other. But I don't necessarily like, because it was so common for us just to be yelling across the house to each other, like, I'm going to nuke you now, like stuff like that. Like, I don't think it was super memorable. And I'm trying to remember if Diablo 2 had voice chat on the PS2, because I remember my buddy and I would play Diablo 2 and the EverQuest Diablo style game online all the time, but I can't remember if we were using voice chat or not. So I don't have something that I should have. Like, I feel like empty now. Like, I should have a memory of voice chat, and I don't have like a great one.
That totally reminded me of, I have one that was way sooner than that I forgot about. And it was in college playing Unreal Tournament.
There you go. Yeah. And
I totally forgot about that, but totally it was playing Unreal Tournament in college. That was definitely my first voice chat experience.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah. So I don't, I'm bummed that I don't have a great solid. I can't even think of like when it came to Xbox what game I played first with it. So
that's true.
I'm sad now. Thanks, Chaffee.
Chaffee made Josh sad. All right, so the last question we got for this week, Jake asked, what's the deal with We Happy Few? It was a big title, supposedly long talked about, yet it comes out, tomorrow from when we're recording it, or it's out on PC now, I believe, but it's hitting consoles tomorrow officially, and barely anyone is mentioning it. So, and it's true. So I was doing some research on it because this is a game I'm still interested in, although it seems like it's kind of wavering away. And there are a few websites that are kind of talking about it. I've seen a few reviews. I try not to read anything too spoilery, but it's sitting on Metacritic right now on PC at 64. So I'm not really sure what the deal is, Jake. It's something that seems to kind of fall from grace, where it was like the big title that people were talking about, like, I can't wait for this game, and it just, I don't know if it took too long and it was announced too early. I don't know what the deal is. I'm hoping when it officially launches on the consoles that we get some more reviews and maybe a little bit better received at that point. But I don't know. I'm still semi-excited for it. I probably will still pick it up at some point unless the reviews come out and they're super bad. But some reviews seem to highlight some different things and say, like, overall it's not perfect, but it's decent enough to play. Josh, your thoughts?
Well, it sounds like they issued an update or something recently where it sounds like the game is totally morphed into something completely different from what people were expecting. I will reserve judgment until I see it for myself, but I mean, we see this all the time. If you have a game that's been delayed and pushed back this much, the minority of those games are good and getting higher reviews. I'm not saying the game's bad, but I definitely see why there hasn't been a lot of chat about it and why it might be reviewing low. You also have to remember, just because the review is out doesn't mean that it's a solid representation of the game, especially if the said reviewers are expecting what we got with early access. And we don't know how much they've played of the game, if this is like patching to change the game, all these like variables. The premise still interests me, so I'm interested in checking it out. But I think I'm right on Jake from State Farm's side. Like, I totally don't know what's going on with the game. So I'm interested to see, I guess tomorrow, I'll probably jump on Mixer or Twitch and see what people watch some streams just to get an idea. Because now that I'm not buying Dead Cells, maybe I'll be buying We Happy Few.
You can still buy Dead Cells if you want to.
And you can dance if you want to. You can leave your friends behind.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe the low score on PC that they get right now, that 64, was really just like an indie reviewer giving it a bad score, and then IGN's copy of that review, and then they got 2 bad scores.
Well,
anyway,
if you ever read Steam reviews, you never know what you're getting from reviews.
That's true. That's true. Kyle, your thoughts on We Happy Few?
I think, I mean, maybe Compulsion was just like, hey, we're gonna go make some exclusives now, so let's just finish this and get it out. I don't know. You know, I think it might be a situation where they had a really cool style game, like it looked cool stylistically, and maybe they didn't fully know what that was going to be yet, or maybe they had a cool style and kind of thought what they knew it was going to be, and then people play tested it and were in the beta and stuff, and they're like, oh, maybe this isn't working out the way we want it to. I don't know. You know, I think it is an interesting game. I think, you know, I look a lot of it like the original release of like No Man's Sky. There was a lot of hype. People are really excited about it. But did anybody how many people truly knew what they were getting with initial vanilla No Man's Sky? Maybe kind of the same thing happened here where people were like, hey, this game seems really cool. Look how awesome it looks. They seem pretty stoked about it. Xbox is very clearly big on it. But do we really know what we're getting with it? So I'm interested in it. I think I'm definitely going to check it out. I don't think I'll buy it, you know, anytime soon, but it's one of those games that, you know, if it comes to Xbox Game Pass or PlayStation Plus someday or something like that, yeah, I would definitely check it out and play it, but it's not something that I think I will ever purchase. Again, stylistically, it looks really cool. Love the atmosphere, love the art, love that style of game, though, just doesn't seem, from what I can tell of what it is, doesn't seem something that I want to jump into.
Fair enough. So that wraps up our questions. So thank you, everybody, for sending those in. Reminding you can always tweet at us at PSVG or hit us up in the Discord and slide into my DMs with questions, not with other stuff. And we will address them on the next episode. But now it's time to check out the news of the week. Hey, guys, Germany finally acknowledges that Nazis existed, at least in video games. So computer and video games can include swastikas and other Nazi symbols, a German industry body said today after a heated debate over the Wolfenstein franchise in which gamers battled the Third Reich forces. The game was previously deemed to have fallen foul of the German criminal code, which bars any depiction of so-called anti-constitutional symbols, including Nazi swastikas. Accordingly, Wolfenstein 2 images of Adolf Hitler were doctored to remove his mustache like Henry Cavill in Justice League. And the swastika in the Nazi flag was replaced with like a triangle, almost like a Deathly Hallows type symbol. And this sparked an uproar in the gaming community, prompting for calls to be treated like films or art, which that's kind of always been the debate where video games are art and whatnot there too. But Germany has always stood fast in this argument and not allowed it. However, as of today, they're officially recalling that sentiment, and now it will be treated the same way as films and or TV or anything else there. So, you know, it's a win for designers there too. I can understand Germany's, you know, not really wanting to do that because it's something I'm sure they'd love to forget, and that's completely understandable so. But to pretend it didn't exist is not feasible in this day and age. But that's just me. I don't know what you guys think.
Oh, what a touchy subject. Why give in now, Germany? What's the deal? Why did Wolfenstein change your mind?
It's a good game. They just liked it. I don't know.
It's a tough... I mean, I understand why Germany did it. Jeez. Does it.
They done did it.
They done did it. I get why they do it. But, I mean, censorship is something that is potentially something that could lead back to something like that. So maybe don't censor everything. We, at least in America, you learn history repeats itself and not to ignore what happened in the past. You want to learn from the mistakes. So I'm not going to sit here and tell Germany you should be allowing swastikas all the time, but pretending that it didn't happen is not going to change the fact that it happened. So allowing games to show a tough part of your past is a tough subject. Do we want to be playing video games where we're showing the slaughter of Native Americans from the American, part from the British? I don't think so. It's not the same as necessarily showing a symbol of a hate group, but it's a slippery slope. Where do you cut that off? And then you look at other countries that have these very harsh game restrictions, like Australia. I get it. I do. I'm glad I don't work in an industry where I have to make that decision on what is acceptable and what isn't in video games, because I feel like it's an impossible decision to make
Oh yeah.
When you're weighing people's rights versus the content you're allowing people to view and have access to. So that's
It's your rant.
I was trying to think of German currency. My Cougarans. My two Cougaran.
All right, so Kyle, yay or nay on Nazis?
Well, nay on Nazis. Definitely nay on Nazis. This is a tough subject, and I think the reason for me it's tough is not because I hate freedom or anything like that. I'm definitely pro-freedom, but
You're German?
no, I'm definitely not German at all, actually. But well, maybe I am. I haven't done one of those DNA tests. Who knows?
He's gonna play one in Mighty Ducks 4, though. He's gonna play German.
Maybe someday. But you know, living in the U.S., we have a lot. We're very fortunate about a lot of things. But I think one thing that we always run into is we always, make jokes about freedom and, because freedom and everything else. And I think, unfortunately, especially when it comes to art and speech and all of those things, we're really good at saying, well, I can do something because I'm allowed to. But we're really bad at saying, right, but just because you can, does that mean you should? And I think sometimes we run into that. And I understand Germany was very apprehensive about saying, yes, we're going to let you because we trust you're going to make good decisions about this. I know a lot of people. I don't trust a lot of people. I get not wanting to give that out there. I totally understand that. And I think that's just, the problem that you run into is that eventually you have to know that, hey, if the longer the time passes, the more pressure there's going to be. And eventually you're going to be in a situation where there's not going to be an argument you can really give that most people are going to buy anymore as to why you do not allow, the representation of Nazi symbolism in games. Like, eventually you're just going to hit a point where people are going to be like, no, like, that just isn't the way it is. And apparently we've hit that point, So I hope people make good decisions about how they do that moving forward and how that's used, especially in that country moving forward. I hope that they think long and hard and recognize whether are they trying to actually be provocative or are they just being jerks, Granted, it's not against the law to be a jerk. I just wish some people were jerks less often. So, yeah, that's kind of just my thoughts on it.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, so we'll move on to some lighter topics then to wrap up the show here. We got two more. Sony's releasing a translucent PS4 console. So to commemorate 500 million PlayStation consoles sold over the last couple of decades, Sony will be bringing back that oh-so-amazing trend from the 90s of making everything translucent and a solid color. Yeah, both the console and controllers are see-through kind of navy blue, letting you see the guts inside and the surrounding plastic as a dark shade of like navy blue. As a bronze plate on the front of the PS4 Pro that will have a serial number actually indicating what model number you had as well. This limited edition bundle will also have a 2 terabyte hard drive, DualShock 4, as we said, that matches it, and a PlayStation camera. Also should be noted you can get the DualShock controller separately, as well as they're going to be doing a gold wireless headset that has the same transparent casing as the console as well too. Only 50,000 of these will be available worldwide. They'll go on sale in the US and Canada on August 24th. This looks so good. I have to admit, like, this is good. And I was still a fan of the Spider-Man one. I know that is a dividing statement in some of our communities here. Make us better. Some people think it's hideous. Some people think it's cool. I was a fan of the Spider-Man one. This one looks even better. I'm a fan of it for sure. So I think it's pretty cool and something neat that they do. And it's only 50,000. So it's not like it's going to cost them a ton of money to do this type of stunt. Much like when they did, was the PS3, they did the PS2 version where it was like gray.
Yeah.
And they made it look like the old one.
Yep.
So it's fun to see them do like these anniversary consoles every once in a while there too. So what do you guys think? You like it, Josh? Or, I mean, I know you're more of an Xbox guy, but.
I mean, I like the Spider-Man one better, but I get that I'm in the minority in that for whatever reason. It just looks nice. I like the pictures look fine. The pictures don't look so translucent though. I'd like to see it in.
Yeah, it's because it's a dark blue, so it's hard to tell. Yeah.
So if it looks like the PS2 ones look like, it's a hard pass. Those things look hideous. Here's my question, and as an Xbox guy, a lot of people are giving crap to Xbox about buying an Xbox One X because of how close we are to a new console generation. Well, like that's my biggest worry about. Like this is a Pro, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and I just bought a Pro this year, and the Spider-Man one's a Pro as well, I believe.
Yep. I think they have both for Spider-Man. I think there's a Slim and a Pro.
Oh, do they? Okay,
I think so. Yeah.
I guess my question on the topic. Well, I mean, obviously, we still want to hear what Kyle thinks about how it looks, but like, is it too like? Should we be investing in a PS4 Pros right now? Having being one who bought one this year, I'm not trying to be hypocritical about it, but in the light of the questions about people talking about the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro should be in that same category. What do you like? Do we think is it a risk, or can we just be happy with getting another PS4 Pro?
I mean, I'm not buying I don't have PS4 Pro. I don't have an Xbox One X. I have the standard edition of both the consoles, and I'm fine. I'm not in any rush there to do it. So to each their own. I feel like this one being only 50,000 and they're individually numbered, I have a feeling this is gonna be much more of a collector's item than an everyday use type of item for people who have way too much money and don't know what else to do with it. That might be better, but yeah, it's just me. And Kyle is correct. There is a PS4 Slim and Pro version of Spider-Man. I had no idea. I thought it was just the Pro.
So the one thing I'll say, number one, I think, were we talking about the 20th anniversary PS4?
Yeah, I think that's what I was. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it was the 20th anniversary PS4, not PS3.
Sorry,
but anyway, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure people will probably correct us somewhere. So I want to make sure we got that out there. I think this console is really good looking. I think PlayStation for a number of years lately has really dropped the ball on their special edition consoles. Like they have not done a great job. And as somebody myself who's a big PlayStation fan, their special edition consoles have been pretty underwhelming. Now this year, I think they've done a much better job. The God of War one it says something. Like whether you like it or hate it, it at least is bold. Like all the stuff they were doing before was like, I'm going to throw a decal on the top, which I know the Spider-Man one basically is just a decal on the top. And we're going to throw some decals on the controller and call it good. And it's usually going to be just a black console or a gray console. I think that this year they've at least are really putting cool, like bold things out there, right? Like the God of War one is very bold. The Spider-Man one, whether you like it or not, is very like, that is really red. Like it is a bold statement that they're making, and same with this one. So I like the fact that they are pushing the envelope in what they're willing to do, and they're not just throwing a couple decals on something and calling it good. So this one, though, I do think is really pretty, but I kind of agree with the idea that I think this is probably geared at people who are big PlayStation fans who are collectors. The fact that it's got a 2 terabyte drive in it, the fact that each console is individually numbered. I don't think this is necessarily geared at the person who has a PlayStation 4 that plays that console. It's that people like me who I have a Pro. If I trade my Pro in, like that, and I'm not going to, but I thought about it, right. So that's who I think this is geared at, especially since they're only making 50,000 of them. Like, it's not a huge run they're doing. Like, this is geared at those people who are big PlayStation fans and want to have a little piece of history, if you would, with their individually numbered console.
That's very fair. Very fair. So we got time. One more story. Did you guys get a chance to watch any of the Red Dead Redemption 2 gameplay footage that came out today?
Is that a video game?
Yes, it is. It's a video game, as people call it. So yeah, this came out today. I mean, it's not really a news story, but they showed a pretty lengthy gameplay finally of what it looks like. And I will state, so Donnie had already purchased Red Dead Redemption 2 a long time ago. So I'm getting it either way. Thanks, GameShare. And I was not a big fan of the original one. And this one still, story-wise, it doesn't do anything for me because I don't have any connection there. But I will say, this looks really cool. It's very much a better looking Grand Theft Auto world where it's kind of like, hey, stuff is actually going on throughout this entire world, and it looks good to boot. So this might be just Rockstar slowly evolving and getting better and better and better. Like you go back and people knocked them a lot for the PS2 era and even PS3 era Grand Theft Auto games. Like, they didn't look that great. They've never looked that great. And even the 5, it looks better, but it still doesn't look great. This is the first game I've seen of them that they put out that looks great. In this type of game. I know they've done other games that aren't like these open world things like Bully and stuff like that, but this looks really, really good. So I'm excited for it. That's kind of all I really want to say on it, is that I'm excited to experience it, and hopefully it gets its hooks into me and I enjoy the experience as much as some other people are looking forward to. But what did you guys think of the gameplay footage that was out there?
So, I have mixed feelings about Red Dead Redemption as a series. I have played the original one, and I liked it well enough, but I never finished it. And that's just kind of how I am about Rockstar games in general. I try them, I play them, but I usually never finish them. So, will I play Red Dead Redemption 2? Eventually. Did this trailer make me more interested in playing Red Dead Redemption 2? Yes. So it accomplished that goal. Will I play this day one? If Josh buys it, maybe. Yeah, game share. Otherwise, we'll see. Like I said, I'm sure I will play this game. I'm really interested to see how a lot of the mechanisms that they board game right there, mechanics that they implement are going to work, with the idea of like you can choose how you're going to interact with people and how you do that and what the effect that's going to have on the story down the line. Is this a situation where my game and your game and Josh's games are all going to be completely different based off of who we're friends with and not who we're friends with, and how does that play into the main story of the game and all of that? I'm really interested to see kind of how all that's going to work. So they definitely have me intrigued. You're right, the game looks really nice. This, one thing I think they do very well is skyboxes, and the skyboxes in the original Red Dead were great. Looking just at the sky in this game, I'm like, oh, that looks really pretty. So I'm definitely interested to play it. I hope I can pet dogs. That seems important to me. I did watch a small tangent. I know we're running long. I watched the 107 rapid fire questions on Game Informer about the next Assassin's Creed game. And one of the questions they asked is if you could pet the dogs, and apparently the answer is no. So now I'm on the fence about Assassin's Creed Odyssey. You can pet other animals, like any animal you tame, you can pet. So you can like tame a bear and pet it, but you can't pet the random dogs. What's up with that? Anyway,
that doesn't make any sense.
I know. So anyway, I am more interested to play this game as a result of their trailer. So their trailer did what it was supposed to.
Hi. Guess what?
Hi.
That trailer was incredible. We'll have this day one. It looked beautiful. I made my wife watch it. She had no interest. I kept telling her to look up at the TV from her phone. It looks beautiful, right? That's really what I think a lot of people were waiting to see. Like, how does it look? It's in that. It hit that thing for me where I think it's too good to be true. And I have no reason to not believe it wasn't gameplay, but it looks so good.
It said it was captured from in-game.
I know. I just, I've been burned. So it looks so good. Like, I can't wait to play it. I have no reason to believe it won't look that good, but I'll always have a little bit back here going, it's not that good, Josh. So I'll remain skeptical. It looks beautiful, but I love that you don't need to know the backstory from Red Dead Redemption, seemingly. You might miss out on some like nods, I think, but
it's a prequel, so yeah.
From everything we've seen, it's going to be all standalone. Obviously, at the end, I'm sure they'll lead up to. I like that you're traveling with like this like circus-ish kind of thing. Like, they make it look like you're traveling with this group of people that makes me think of like everything I've heard of, like these traveling circuses, the traveling people across country, those kids at the campfire in the video. The horses look incredible, and that there's different types. I saw Clydesdales pulling a cart, stallions. The fact that you can store extra weapons, like the trunk of a car, basically, like on a horse, is great. When they show him in the dark walking towards 3 bad guys, transitioning from a handgun to a double barrel shotgun and killing those 3 people fluidly, that's like, you don't even need to get into that awesome dead shots system they have, where you can then slow down time. That's another big benefit. I could take or leave the games. Like, I spent way too much time losing money in Red Dead Redemption playing their poker game in the bars. Like, I didn't love that. I felt like I had to do it. Like I was forced to do it in the other one. But the only thing that this trailer did for me was give me those feels that I've been waiting for, you know. So 2 thumbs up for that trailer. Like, I can't wait to watch. Like, they're gonna show a train robbery in the next one, and I'm psyched. I can't wait. I have to get through Spider-Man quick.
Yeah, so much coming this fall, and holiday season's crazy. Well, that wraps up all the news then. So before we leave, guys, let's plug where people can find us and what we want to direct them to. So I know, Josh, this is typically your wheelhouse there, so go for it.
Oh, well, my awkward transitions on board with the video games shows I'm great with this.
Wait, should I say, Josh, I think it's a good time to wrap things up. What do you say?
Yeah. Oh, is it my turn? Okay. No. Typically, like, I mean, you guys can find me on the internet, but I plug my Pride board of the video games podcast that Kyle and I do. Kyle does most of it. I'm there for it. We love it. And you can find us on social medias, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We even get our own Gmail. It's Board with VG on pretty much everything. And is everything. It's BOARD for those who haven't caught on yet. I'm really happy with everything we've been doing. So if you guys have any interest in board games or video games, like if you just want a different take on not typical huge Nintendo fans takes on video games, come on over. But we're not just board games. We're also video games. We try to give it 50-50 shot. We do like 70% board games, though, usually. Unless we have big news to talk about, like E3 and stuff. But yeah, check us out over there, please. And I'll throw it over to Kyle.
Yeah, so, Josh covered the general board of the video game stuff. You can find me individually at CycoCross, which is CycoCross. And that's basically everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, and Board Game Geek. You can hang out with me there. Let's chat. Let's play games. It's awesome. Plus, the Summer Games patch was released for Overwatch today. So if you want to play Overwatch and earn sweet skins, let's do that. Come be my friend. We'll play Overwatch. It will be grand.
There you go. And I just need to point it out. I'm not Nintendo biased. This show, this PSVG, the flagship show, is generally not biased towards any console anymore. So just want to put that out there. Saying no Nintendo Shack. Let's see. Couple things to plug here. I'm going to direct you people over to my Twitch, twitch.tv/PSVGKevin. I will be streaming things probably starting maybe even tomorrow, but definitely Monday. Why, you ask? Monday, we're starting a new thing. We're doing what we call MUBG Mondays, not PUBG, MUBG, because it's Make Us Better Battlegrounds. Instead, we're going to be streaming some PUBG matches over there too, so you can join. Me and my brother-in-law will probably have some people from staff playing with us as well, and we'll stream that every Monday, and then I will have a schedule of things coming out afterwards. I'm going to do things a little bit different than Caroline, who's streaming a lot right now. She's kind of making her way through a game. I'm going to do different experiences and maybe get you guys a glimpse at a game you maybe don't see every day. Some of the weird, wonderful things that I play that people make fun of me for. I will introduce you to that, and you'll be suffering and tortured and having to experience it with me. But anyway, check that out. Twitch.tv/PSVGKevin. Head over to the website, psvg.blog, to find all the things Play Some Video Games does, including the board of video game stuff, including the OT stuff, all the things. But most importantly, I want to direct you over to the Discord there. Click on the Discord thing. It will connect you to our Make Us Better Discord community, where we have tons of things going on, where we talk about all the different things that we're interested in. It kind of makes the workday go just a little bit faster. And speaking of Make Us Better, head over to patreon.com/makeusbetter if you want to help the cause and donate a shilling or two, if you will. Not Kurt Schilling, because he does very bad things to video games. We only want to do good things to video games, so your shillings is in dollars. And your money not only goes to help us at PSVG, but many other talented content creators all in one place. So instead of having to worry about, hey, I want to give to this one, and I want to give to that one, and then this one, your donation supports multiple ones there, so it's a one-stop shop for there. And then lastly, whether it be board games or video games, dice games or card games, we ask that you never stop gaming.